I want to talk to you today about a truth that isn't always easy to accept. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some people are placed in your path for a season, some for a lesson, and some for a blessing. But here's the thing, we don't always know who's who. Thankfully, God does. And in His infinite wisdom, He reveals the truth about the people in our lives, even when it's hard for us to see. Discernment is one of the most precious gifts God gives His children. It's the ability to see beyond what's visible, to sense what's beneath the surface, and to distinguish between what is true and what is false. Often we're so caught up in appearances or the words people say that we fail to recognize their true intentions. But God, in His infinite wisdom, gives us discernment as a spiritual tool to guide us and protect us from harm. Have you ever been in a situation where something just didn't feel right? Maybe someone seemed kind, supportive, or even overly generous, but deep down there was an uneasiness in your spirit. That's not your imagination. It's not you being overly cautious. That's God nudging you, whispering to your heart, pay attention. The Holy Spirit within us is always speaking, always revealing, but we have to be tuned in to hear Him. Discernment is that quiet voice that tells you to look closer when the world tells you to relax. It's the alarm that goes off in your spirit even when everything on the outside seems perfect. Many times discernment is overlooked because we rely on our own understanding. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. The truth is, our human understanding is limited. We can't see what's happening behind closed doors. We don't know what's in someone's heart. But God does. He knows every thought, every motive, every hidden agenda. And through discernment, He allows us to tap into His wisdom, giving us insights we couldn't gain on our own. One of the ways God uses discernment is to protect us. There are people who may come into your life with ulterior motives. They may present themselves as friends, supporters, or even mentors, but their intentions are far from pure. On the surface, they may seem trustworthy, but underneath, they may be filled with jealousy, deceit, or selfish ambition. God sees what we cannot see, and He uses discernment to warn us. That feeling of uneasiness, that hesitation you can't quite explain. It's not random. It's God shielding you from something or someone who could derail your purpose. However, discernment requires our cooperation. God can show us the truth, but if we choose to ignore it, we can still fall into traps. Sometimes we let our emotions cloud our judgment. We convince ourselves that someone means well, even when their actions tell a different story. We hold on to relationships that God is trying to end because we're afraid of being alone. But discernment calls for obedience. When God reveals something to you, it's not to hurt you, it's to protect you. Trusting His guidance means letting go of your own plans and leaning fully into His. Discernment also works in tandem with time. You may not always recognize someone's true nature immediately. God may allow them to stay in your life for a season, but over time, their true character will come to light. This is why it's important to remain prayerful and attentive. Ask God to open your eyes to what you need to see. Sometimes the truth isn't revealed all at once. It unfolds gradually as God prepares your heart to handle it. But discernment isn't just about seeing the bad. It's also about recognizing the good. God doesn't just show us who to avoid. He also shows us who to trust. He'll bring people into your life who are genuine, loving, and aligned with His purpose for you. Discernment helps you distinguish between those who are there to hinder you and those who are there to help you. It sharpens your focus and ensures you surround yourself with the right people. Ultimately, discernment is a gift of love. It's God's way of saying, I care about you too much to let you walk blindly. So when you feel that inner nudge, that sense of hesitation or clarity, don't ignore it. It's God working in you, guiding you toward His best and keeping you from harm. Trust His voice even when it doesn't make sense, because He always has your best interest at heart. Life has a way of revealing the truth about the people around us, and one of the most powerful ways this happens is through the storms we face. Difficulties, trials, and challenges are often where God allows the unmasking of fake people to take place. When life is smooth and everything is going well, it's easy for anyone to stand by your side. But when the winds pick up, and the waves start crashing, that's when people's true intentions and loyalty come to light. Think about it, storms are uncomfortable. They shake things up, disrupt the calm, and force us to confront reality. In those moments, you start to see who's genuinely invested in you and who's just there for convenience. God allows these storms not to punish us, but to reveal what we might otherwise overlook. He uses adversity as a refining process, separating the true from the false, the genuine from the counterfeit. When a storm comes into your life, whether it's a financial setback, a personal loss, or even a spiritual battle, it's like a test of relationships. The people who truly care about you will step up, offering their support and walking through the storm with you. They don't run away when things get tough. Instead, they stay, often sacrificing their own comfort to be there for you. These are the people God wants you to hold on to, the ones He has placed in your life for a reason. But then there are those who vanish at the first sign of trouble. They were happy to enjoy the sunshine with you, but the moment dark clouds roll in, they're nowhere to be found. They might make excuses, distance themselves, or simply disappear altogether. It's painful when this happens, especially if you thought they were true friends or allies. But remember, God is not trying to hurt you. He's trying to protect you. He's showing you who doesn't have your best interests at heart. And while it may sting in the moment, it's a blessing in disguise. Storms are also a way for God to strengthen your discernment. Without challenges, it's easy to be blinded by surface level kindness or empty promises. Some people are good at pretending they say all the right things. They show up when it benefits them, and they wear a mask of sincerity. But storms strip away the facade. When you're struggling, people's true nature becomes evident. You'll see who's willing to get their hands dirty and help you rebuild, and who's only around for the celebration after the storm has passed. The Bible gives us countless examples of this. Look at Job, a man who lost everything, his wealth, his health, and even his family. In the midst of his suffering, his friends came to him, but instead of comforting him, they accused him, doubted him, and questioned his integrity. Job's storm revealed who his true friends were and who they weren't. But through it all, God remained faithful, ultimately restoring Job's life and blessing him abundantly. Job's story reminds us that while storms may reveal the fake, they also pave the way for God's blessings and the strengthening of true relationships. It's also important to remember that storms are temporary. They don't last forever, and when they pass, you'll be left with clarity. The people who stayed by your side, who weathered the storm with you, are the ones who were meant to be part of your journey, and the ones who left, let them go. Their departure is part of God's pruning process. He's clearing out the dead weight, making room for relationships that will nurture your growth and align with His plan for your life. Storms aren't just about revealing others, they're also about refining you. As you go through these difficult seasons, God is strengthening your faith, building your character, and teaching you to trust Him more deeply. He's showing you that He's the ultimate anchor, the one who will never leave you, no matter how fierce the storm becomes. And as you lean on Him, you'll find that the people He's placed in your life will do the same. They'll reflect His love, His faithfulness, and His support. So the next time you find yourself in a storm, don't be discouraged. Instead, look at it as an opportunity. Pay attention to who stands with you, who prays for you, and who helps you through. And when someone walks away, don't chase them. Trust that God is using the storm to reveal the truth and align you with the people who are meant to be part of your destiny. In the end, every storm has a purpose, and every trial brings you closer to God's perfect plan for your life. The truth has a way of revealing itself, no matter how deeply it's hidden. One of the most powerful lessons we learn in life is that truth cannot be concealed forever. Over time, it rises to the surface like oil and water, regardless of how much effort someone puts into hiding it. This principle applies not only to situations, but also to people. God, in His infinite wisdom, allows time to expose what is real and what is fake in our lives. At first glance, it's easy to be deceived by appearances. People can put on a good show, speak kind words, and act in ways that seem genuine. They can wear masks that hide their true intentions, convincing you they have your best interests at heart. But God sees beyond the masks. He knows what's hidden in the corners of someone's heart. And He allows the truth to unfold in His perfect timing. Sometimes He reveals it quickly, but more often it's a process that requires patience and trust. The truth comes out over time because time is a great tester of character. People can pretend for a season, but they can't maintain a facade. Eventually, their actions will contradict their words. They might slip up, reveal inconsistencies, or simply grow weary of pretending. That's when their true nature is revealed. God often uses time as a filter to show us who someone really is. He lets their behavior over weeks, months, or even years tell the story that words alone cannot. It's easy to become frustrated or even hurt when you realize someone wasn't who you thought they were. Maybe it's a friend who betrayed your trust, a partner who wasn't faithful, or a colleague who undermined you behind your back. The pain of discovering the truth can be overwhelming, but it's important to remember that God doesn't reveal these things to hurt you. He reveals them to protect you and to guide you toward His greater purpose. In Ecclesiastes 3:1, we're reminded that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. This includes a time for truth to be unveiled. God's timing is never random. He reveals things when we're ready to handle them, not a moment sooner. There may be times when you question why you didn't see the truth earlier, but trust that God knows what He's doing. He allows the truth to come out at the right time so that it can accomplish what it needs to, whether that's teaching you a lesson, protecting you from further harm, or freeing you to move forward. Sometimes God reveals the truth through subtle signs. You might notice patterns in someone's behavior or hear something that doesn't align with what they've said. At other times, the truth comes out dramatically in a way that's impossible to ignore. Either way, when it happens, it's important to listen. Don't dismiss what God is showing you because it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. Ignoring the truth only prolongs the pain and keeps you stuck in a situation that isn't good for you. The process of truth coming out over time also teaches us patience. We live in a world that values instant answers and immediate resolutions, but God operates on a different timeline. He doesn't rush. He allows things to unfold naturally, giving people the opportunity to reveal who they truly are. In the meantime, He calls us to trust Him. Trust that He's working behind the scenes, aligning everything for your good. Trust that when the time is right, you'll have the clarity you need to make the right decisions. Another important aspect of truth being revealed over time is that it aligns you with the right people. When God exposes someone's true character, it might be painful, but it also clears the way for better relationships. When someone's mask comes off and they leave your life, it's because they were never meant to be part of your long-term journey. God is making room for people who are honest, genuine, and aligned with His purpose for you. Every time the truth is revealed, it's a step closer to living the life God intends for you. Finally, let's not forget that truth brings freedom. In John 8:32, Jesus said, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Even when the truth is hard to face, it ultimately liberates you. It frees you from deception, false relationships, and situations that aren't in your best interest. It may be uncomfortable at first, but over time, you'll see that the truth is a gift, not a punishment. So when the truth comes out, don't be discouraged. Thank God for showing you what you needed to see. Trust His timing, lean into His wisdom, and know that every revelation is part of His plan to lead you into a brighter, more authentic future. The truth may take time, but when it comes, it's always worth it. One of the most challenging truths to accept in life is that sometimes God closes doors. It's natural to feel frustrated, confused, or even heartbroken when something we wanted doesn't work out. Maybe it was a job opportunity, a relationship, a friendship, or a dream you were pursuing. The door seemed perfect, wide open, and inviting, only for it to suddenly slam shut. But here's the truth. When God closes a door, it's not to harm you, it's to protect you, guide you, and align you with His greater plan. We often see a closed door as rejection, but God sees it as redirection. He knows what lies ahead, things we can't possibly see. He hears conversations you didn't hear. He knows the motives of people who may not have your best interests at heart. What looks like a missed opportunity to us might actually be God's way of saving us from unnecessary pain or steering us away from a situation that would harm us. The closed door is often His way of shielding us, even if we don't realize it in the moment. Think about it. How many times have you wanted something so badly, only to realize later that it wasn't as good as it seemed? Maybe it was a job that turned out to be toxic, a relationship that would have drained your spirit, or a path that would have led you away from your purpose. In hindsight, you can see God's hand in closing that door, but at the time it felt like a loss. That's because we often focus on the immediate disappointment instead of trusting in the long-term vision that God has for our lives. When God closes a door, He's asking you to trust Him. It's an invitation to lean into His wisdom rather than your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and he will make your path straight. Trusting God means believing that his no is just as loving as his yes. It's believing that even when a door closes, he's still working for your good. Sometimes God closes doors because we're holding on to something that's beneath the level he's calling us to. We may settle for less because it's comfortable or familiar, but God knows the plans he has for us, plans to prosper us and not to harm us, plans to give us hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. To step into his best for our lives, we have to let go of what's holding us back. The closed door isn't a punishment, it's preparation. It's God's way of saying, I have something better for you, just wait. Waiting, however, can be difficult. When a door closes, it often feels like we're in limbo, stuck in a hallway with no clear direction. But those waiting periods are where God does some of his most important work in us. He uses the time to refine our character, strengthen our faith, and teach us patience. He's preparing us for the next door he's going to open. And when that door opens, we'll realize why the others had to close. The right door will lead to blessings, peace, and alignment with his purpose for our lives. It's also important to remember that not every closed door is permanent. Sometimes God closes a door for a season, not forever. He may be asking you to grow, to heal, or to gain the skills and wisdom you'll need to walk through that door when the time is right. Other times he closes a door because it's simply not part of his plan for you. Either way, his timing is always perfect and his decisions are always for your benefit. If you're facing a closed door right now, don't be discouraged. Instead, take it as a sign that God is actively involved in your life. He sees the bigger picture and he's moving pieces into place for your ultimate good. It may not feel good in the moment, but in time you'll see that his plan was far better than anything you could have imagined. Pray for clarity, seek his guidance, and trust that the closed door is part of the journey he's taking you on. God's love for you is so great that he won't let you settle for less than his best. The door he closes today might save you from heartbreak tomorrow. The opportunity he withholds now might be making room for something extraordinary in the future. And the relationship he removes might be clearing the way for one that truly honors and uplifts you. So when God closes a door, don't try to force it back open. Let it close and thank him for protecting you. Trust that he's leading you to something greater and be patient in the process. Because when the right door opens, you'll know it was worth the wait. And you'll see the wisdom in every door he closed along the way. In life, we hear countless promises, assurances, and declarations from the people around us. Words are powerful. They have the ability to inspire, comfort, and encourage. But no matter how eloquent or convincing someone's words may be, actions will always speak louder. Words can be empty, but actions reveal the truth. They show a person's character, intentions, and commitment far more clearly than anything they say. It's easy to say the right things. It doesn't take much effort to promise loyalty, express love, or declare support. But following through on those words requires integrity, effort, and consistency. Over time, a person's actions will either confirm or contradict what they've said. If someone's actions consistently align with their words, you can trust their character. However, if their actions tell a different story, it's a clear sign to pay attention. God uses this principle to guide us in our relationships. He reminds us not to be deceived by smooth talk or grand promises. Proverbs 20:11 says, even a child is known by his actions, whether his conduct is pure and right. This means that what people do, how they behave, treat others, and respond in difficult situations will always reveal who they truly are. Actions are an outward reflection of the heart, and they can't be faked for long. Think about the relationships in your life. Have you ever met someone who made bold claims about being there for you, but when you needed them, they were nowhere to be found? Or perhaps someone said they valued honesty, yet they consistently lied or withheld the truth? These experiences remind us that actions hold more weight than words ever could. People can tell you they care, but if their actions don't show it, their words mean little. God also calls us to examine our own actions. It's easy to talk about faith, love, and kindness, but living those values requires intentional effort. James 2:17 tells us, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. This means that faith isn't just about what we believe or say, it's about what we do. Loving others isn't just saying, I love you. It's showing up for them, serving them, and putting their needs above your own. Kindness isn't just about kind words, it's about acts of generosity, patience, and compassion. In the same way, people often judge us not by what we say, but by how we act. Our actions are our testimony. They show others what we truly value and who we truly are. If we want to be people of integrity, our words and actions must align. When we make a promise, we should keep it. When we say we care, we should demonstrate it. This consistency builds trust and strengthens relationships. But actions don't just reveal character, they also reveal priorities. What someone invests their time, energy, and resources into shows what matters most to them. For example, someone might say their family is their top priority, but if they consistently choose work or hobbies over spending time with loved ones, their actions reveal a different story. Similarly, someone might claim to value honesty, but if they cut corners or hide the truth, their actions show otherwise. This principle is especially important in times of difficulty. When things are going well, it's easy for people to say the right things. But when challenges arise, that's when true character is revealed. People's actions during adversity show whether they're reliable, compassionate, and committed. Words may comfort you momentarily, but actions provide lasting evidence of someone's intentions. God himself sets the ultimate example of action, speaking louder than words. Throughout the Bible, his love is not just spoken, but demonstrated. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son." God didn't just tell us he loves us, he proved it through the ultimate act of sacrifice. His actions consistently back up his promises, reminding us that he is faithful and trustworthy. As we navigate life, it's important to remember this truth. Actions will always carry more weight than words. Pay attention to what people do, not just what they say. Look for consistency between their words and actions, and don't be afraid to walk away from relationships where the two don't align. At the same time, strive to live with integrity in your own life. Let your actions reflect your values and demonstrate the love and faith you profess. In the end, actions are what leave a lasting impression. People may forget what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel and what you did. Choose to be someone whose actions speak louder than words, someone who shows love, keeps promises, and lives out their faith in every area of life. In doing so, you'll not only build stronger relationships, but also honor God, who calls us to be doers of his word, not just hearers. Life is a journey, and along the way, the people we encounter play a significant role in shaping our path. Some come to teach us lessons, others to challenge us, and a select few to walk alongside us, encouraging and supporting us through every season. It's easy to think that these connections happen by chance, but the truth is, God aligns us with the right people at the right time for his purpose. He orchestrates relationships with precision, ensuring that we are surrounded by those who will help us grow, fulfill our purpose, and draw closer to him. God's alignment in relationships begins with his deep understanding of our needs. He knows our hearts better than we know ourselves. He sees our strengths, our weaknesses, and the places where we need encouragement or correction. Because of this, he places people in our lives to sharpen us, guide us, and push us toward becoming the person he created us to be. Proverbs 27:17 reminds us, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. The right people will challenge you to grow, hold you accountable, and support you in becoming the best version of yourself. However, God's alignment doesn't always look like what we expect. Sometimes he places people in our lives who are different from us, who challenge our perspective or force us out of our comfort zones. These relationships might feel uncomfortable at first, but they are necessary for growth. God knows that we can't reach our full potential if we stay in spaces where we're never challenged. The people he aligns us with may not always agree with us, but they'll push us toward truth, growth, and his greater purpose. At the same time, God uses alignment to remove people who no longer belong in our lives. This can be a painful process, especially when we don't understand why someone we cared about has to leave. But God sees what we cannot. He knows when someone's season in our life has ended, or when their presence is holding us back from the purpose he has for us. Sometimes the relationships we cling to are not aligned with his plans, and letting go is necessary for him to bring the right people into our lives. As hard as it may be, trust that his pruning is for your good. The people God aligns you with will often bring confirmation of his plans for your life. They will speak words of encouragement and wisdom that resonate deeply with what God has already placed in your heart. They will pray for you, support you, and celebrate your victories as though they were their own. These individuals are a reflection of God's love and care for you. They are not perfect, but they are placed in your life to help you walk in his purpose. God's alignment also teaches us the importance of discernment. Not every person who enters our life is sent by God. Some relationships may seem good on the surface, but can ultimately lead us away from His will. That's why it's essential to pray for wisdom and discernment in your relationships. Ask God to show you which connections are from Him and which ones you need to step away from. He is faithful to guide you when you seek Him earnestly. One of the most beautiful things about God's alignment is how it works both ways. Just as He places people in your life to bless and guide you, He also uses you to bless and guide others. You may be the encouragement someone else needs, the voice of wisdom they're praying for, or the friend who helps them draw closer to God. By being open to His leading, you become part of His plan to align others with the right people as well. The relationships God brings into your life will often point you back to Him. They will encourage you to deepen your faith, grow in your character, and trust His plan. These relationships are marked by love, grace, and mutual support. They are not without challenges, but they are built on a foundation of faith and shared purpose. When you reflect on the people in your life, take a moment to thank God for His alignment. The friendships, mentors, family members, and even brief encounters that have shaped your journey are all part of His divine plan. And if you're in a season where you feel isolated or unsure about the people around you, trust that God is still working. He is preparing the right people to walk into your life at the right time. God's alignment is not accidental. It is intentional, purposeful, and always for your good. The right people will come into your life to lift you up, challenge you, and walk alongside you as you fulfill His purpose. Trust in His timing, pray for His guidance, and be open to the connections He brings your way. Because when God aligns you with the right people, it's always part of a greater plan, one that leads you closer to Him and the abundant life He has prepared for you.